2009, you're 19 years old, and you have a flip phone with like a 2-megapixel camera. You start snapping some photos, and you're like, hey, this is kind of cool. I kind of like this. So then you go buy a Kodak point-and-shoot camera because it's all that you can afford, and you think that that's all you need to take better photos. So then you start going to these beautiful places with your best friends, checking out waterfalls and cool landscapes and just places you didn't even know existed that you probably would have never even tried to explore had you not had a reason to. And then slowly people start asking you to take pictures for them, and then you start doing weddings, and you start upgrading equipment, and then you go to photo school. And before you know it, your whole life revolves around a passion that you love, and that is photography. And then 5 years later, you're still in that role, and you've lost your passion for creating stuff. Because in the afternoons, when you try to get home and create cool new things, you're not motivated to create anymore because you spent all day creating for somebody else. And if any of that sounds familiar, well, that was my story. But I wanted to start the video off talking about that so you know that you're not the only person in the world experiencing burnout from something that you once loved. You know, I got started because I loved taking photos, and it didn't matter what it was. Friends, family, landscapes, portraits. I didn't care. I ate it all up because I loved to do it. It was something fun. It allowed me to escape the mundane of just normal everyday life, but it also gave me some kind of drive to do something, to create, to feel good about something. But as the story goes, over time, sometimes too much of a good thing can often become a bad thing. But what do you do about that? How do you get back your motivation when it feels like all else is lost? Maybe you've gotten a job, or you've created your own job doing the thing you love to do to the point that you don't necessarily love doing that thing anymore. Well, I met one of my hero photographers years ago, Ryan Schutte. So much for being a hero. I can't even remember how to pronounce his name correctly. But anyhow, he creates these extraordinary photos, and I got to meet him. He came all the way over to the East Coast, to the photo school that I was a part of, and did a photo shoot on campus that we all got to see the whole process. And while he and I were out at a restaurant together having a couple drinks, I asked him, you know, it's amazing. How do you afford to do all this cool photography? And he's like, well, honestly, I have to do the kinds that I don't like to do to be able to afford to do the kinds that I do like to do. So that's one way you can keep yourself interested, is try to still attempt to do the types that you like to do. And if you're lucky enough that you've created a business model around your own photography, then you're already creating the work the way that you want to create it. You've got your own style, you've got your own methods, you're in control. Now, the clients can kind of sway things a bit, but depending on which path of photography you're in, whether it's weddings or if it's travel tourism, you probably already got that unique look that people are trying to get. So at least find some comfort in that you are getting to do it the way that you want to, and they've chosen you because of that. But I know one thing that's helped for me is when I don't feel like creating something, whether it's here on YouTube or new photos, because I create photos and videos at my day job, I have to detach myself from what I'm creating and realize that I'm not creating it for anybody but me. So I'm not going out to create the next big viral social media post. I'm not going to create the next big image or video that's going to win some fancy prize or end up in some museum. In fact, a lot of the things that I'm creating, I'm the only person that's ever going to see those things. And honestly, that's all that matters to me. When I got started, I didn't care about other people loving what I was doing or getting likes on social media or trying to make money off of it. I was doing it simply because I loved to do it. And that's how you stay motivated in this. Maybe you are doing your creative hobby as a full-time job, and you don't really feel the fun, passion in the hobby anymore, but maybe you could challenge yourself to think about why it was that you got started, what that drive and motivation was for you when you first started doing this thing. And then take that attitude to go out and start creating some stuff for you. Create things that you'll never share with anybody, or if you do, maybe it's just the people that are closest to you. Don't post them to your website. Don't post them to social media. You know, maybe get prints and start a brand new photo album with just the random motley crew of photos of things that you love. It doesn't have to make sense. See, that's the beautiful thing about art and hobbies and passions. It doesn't always have to make sense. It doesn't have to tell a story. You know, maybe it does for your clients, but when you're doing things for yourself, there's a lot of different variables there. You know, it should be something that feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, think about maybe what you're doing wrong to make it feel that way and how you can make it feel better. But when you can take that noise and silence it out and then start doing the things that you really got into it for in the first place, that's what's going to make a world of difference. But I hope that if you are experiencing some type of burnout, or you don't have that motivation or that drive and don't remember it, that you can at least think back to the beginning, where it all started, and reach out and just grab a hold of that and put that in your pocket, because that is where you're going to find your motivation to keep going.